Dr. Jessica Morgan adjusted her collar for the third time, a nervous habit she'd developed during her years of xenobiological research. The crystalline walls of the Axelarian diplomatic chamber pulsed with an otherworldly blue glow, casting prismatic shadows across her face. Behind her, Earth's small diplomatic contingent stood in practiced formation, their faces masks of calculated neutrality. The Axelarian Tribute Collection Council towered before them, their crystalline forms stretching nearly 15 feet high. Their bodies sparkled with internal light that shifted between deep purple and electric blue, a sign of what Jessica had learned to interpret as smug satisfaction. Species 4891. The lead council member's voice resonated through the chamber, the crystal walls amplifying its mechanical translation. You have been granted the honor of providing tribute to the Axelarian Empire for the protection and guidance we offer. Present your offering. Jessica took a deep breath, her hand brushing against the quantum data crystal in her pocket. 5 years of preparation had led to this moment. She stepped forward, her footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. Honorable Council, she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Earth has prepared a special tribute for this occasion. The crystalline beings flickered with interest, their internal lights brightening. We offer you the truth. Before they could respond, Jessica pulled out the data crystal and inserted it into the chamber's central podium. The walls of the chamber instantly transformed into a massive display, showing hundreds of worlds, thousands of species, all stripped of their resources under the guise of protection. What is the meaning of this? The lead council member's voice boomed, its crystalline form now pulsing angry red. For 5 years, we've been monitoring your network, documenting your exploitation. Jessica continued, her voice growing stronger. Every tribute collected, every technology suppressed, every species kept deliberately dependent. And now, thanks to your own communication network, every subjugated world is watching this transmission. The council chamber erupted in chaos. The Axelarians' forms strobed with violent colors as they realized their own systems had been compromised. Their guards moved forward, weapons materializing from their crystalline arms. Jessica didn't flinch. Instead, she smiled. I wouldn't, she warned, holding up a small device. This quantum disruptor is key to your crystalline frequency. One push, and every Axelarian in this room will experience a very unpleasant resonance cascade. You dare threaten the Eternal Empire? The lead council member's voice crackled with rage and disbelief. No, Jessica replied calmly. We dare to end it. Humanity's tribute is independence, not just for ourselves, but for every species you've enslaved. We've already transmitted quantum disruptor schematics to 200 worlds. Your protected species are protecting themselves now. The chamber walls continued broadcasting, now showing feeds from across the galaxy, worlds where other species were rising up, using human-designed technology to disable Axelarian control systems. The council watched in horror as their carefully constructed empire began crumbling in real time. This is impossible, one of the council members whispered. You are primitives. You were only discovered 5 years ago. Jessica's smile widened. That's your eternal mistake. You see any species younger than yours as primitive. You never considered that our primitive minds might think differently, see solutions you'd never imagine. Every civilization you've conquered, you've forced them to develop along your technological path. But humans, we took one look at your technology and thought of 1,000 ways to break it. The lead council member's crystalline form darkened ominously. This means war. No, Jessica corrected, her voice hard. This means revolution. Humanity's first strike isn't with weapons, it's with truth. And now that it's out there, you'll never contain it again. She turned to leave, then paused at the chamber's entrance. Oh, and we took the liberty of encrypting your entire network with Earth ciphers. Good luck coordinating your response. As Jessica and her team exited the chamber, the sounds of crystalline beings shattering in rage echoed behind them. Humanity's first strike had been launched, and there would be no going back. Colonel James "Buck" Reynolds stood at the reinforced viewport of Deep Station Omega, watching robotic construction units weld together the final sections of humanity's first quantum defense array. The facility, buried 12 miles beneath the Mariana Trench, had been his home for the past 3 years. Every morning, he reminded himself that the crushing ocean pressure above was nothing compared to the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Colonel, you need to see this." Dr. Andrea Torres, their lead quantum physicist, burst into the observation deck, her tablet displaying a chaotic stream of data. Her usual composed demeanor had given way to barely contained excitement. "Tell me you've got good news, Doc," Reynolds said, his weathered face reflecting in the thick glass. "The Axelarians will reach our solar system in 2 years, and we're running out of options." Andrea pulled up a holographic display, showing the results of their latest weapons test. "It was an accident, really. We were running standard neural interface trials with the captured Axelarian tech, and Private Chen had one of his migraines." Reynolds raised an eyebrow. "And the equipment went haywire. At first, we thought it was malfunctioning. But look at this." She played a recording. The Axelarian crystal technology had been studying pulsed erratically, its normal steady glow disrupted by chaotic patterns. Human brainwaves during pain or intense emotion create some kind of resonance effect. Their tech literally can't handle how our minds work. Reynolds straightened, his military training kicking in as he processed the strategic implications. "You're telling me our thoughts can disrupt their systems?" "Better." Andrea's eyes gleamed. "We can weaponize it." The Axelarians evolved from crystalline life forms. Their entire technology is based on perfectly ordered patterns. But human brainwaves, especially during heightened states, are beautifully chaotic. We're basically their technological antithesis. The colonel began pacing, his mind racing through possibilities. "Can we amplify this effect?" Already on it, Andrea led him through the sliding doors and into the main research bay. Dozens of scientists and military personnel worked at various stations, all focused on different pieces of reversed-engineered Axelarian tech. "We're developing what we call a neural resonance amplifier. It takes the chaotic patterns of human consciousness and broadcasts them on a quantum level." They stopped at a testing chamber where Private Chen sat in what looked like a modified pilot's seat, electrodes attached to his temples. As they watched, he concentrated, and a piece of Axelarian crystal technology in the chamber began to vibrate, then crack. "Holy shit," Reynolds whispered. "Exactly." Andrea couldn't hide her grin. "The best part. There's no way they could have predicted this. They've spent millennia dealing with species that developed along similar technological lines as them. But humans? Our minds evolved completely differently. We're their worst nightmare. Chaos they can't control." Reynolds watched as Chen repeated the demonstration, this time completely shattering the crystal. "How long until we can weaponize this on a large scale?" "That's where it gets interesting." Andrea pulled up another hologram, this one showing Earth's defense grid plans. "We don't need to build traditional weapons. We can convert our existing satellite network into a global neural resonance broadcasting system. When they come to collect their tribute, they'll find their technology doesn't work quite the way they expect." The colonel allowed himself a rare smile. "A planet-wide defense system that runs on human thought patterns. Almost poetic, isn't it? They'll never see it coming." "There's more," Andrea added, her voice lowering. "We've started experimenting with different emotional states. Anger, fear, joy. They all create unique disruption patterns. If we can map these correctly, we might be able to target specific systems within their technology." Reynolds looked around the bustling facility, pride swelling in his chest. Here, hidden beneath Earth's deepest ocean, humanity was preparing its most potent defense. The very thing that made them human. "Get me a complete report by 800 tomorrow," he ordered. "And Andrea, good work. All of you." He turned back to the viewport, watching the quantum array's construction with new eyes. "Let them come demand their tribute. We'll show them what happens when you underestimate human ingenuity. Wild Card Squadron, form up on my 6, Captain Lisa Ramirez commanded, her neural interface humming as she guided her quantum-enhanced F-65 Starcutter through the debris field of Earth's outer defense zone. Behind her, 11 of humanity's best pilots fell into formation, their ship's adaptive camouflage reflecting the distant starlight. The Axelarian Response Fleet had arrived exactly as predicted. Massive crystalline vessels that resembled shattered diamonds, each one bristling with energy weapons that could vaporize cities. They moved in perfect mathematical patterns, their formations so precise they seemed almost beautiful. Almost. Remember your training, Lisa broadcast to her squadron. They're expecting standard defensive protocols. Time to show them how Earth fights. The massive Axelarian dreadnought at the fleet's center began charging its main weapon, crystal segments rotating to focus energy. Their transmission cut through all frequencies. Species 4891, you have rejected our benevolence. Prepare for disciplinary action. Lisa couldn't help but smile. Now, Wild Card Squadron. Battle Plan Thunder Run. Her fighters broke formation in what would appear to be complete chaos to the Axelarian battle computers. Each pilot's neural interface broadcasted their unique brainwave patterns, creating a quantum disruption field that played havoc with the aliens' targeting systems. "They can't lock onto us," shouted Lieutenant Rodriguez, his fighter spinning through an impossible corkscrew between two Axelarian cruisers. "Their weapons are going crazy." Lisa pushed her Starcutter into a dive that would have killed an unaugmented human pilot, the G-forces barely contained by her ship's inertial dampeners. "Target their resonance nodes, just like we practiced." The squadron split into pairs, each executing maneuvers that defied the rigid combat algorithms the Axelarians had relied on for millennia. Lisa watched her tactical display as confusion spread through the enemy fleet, their perfect formations beginning to break as they tried to adapt to humanity's seemingly random attack patterns. "Mom," her co-pilot warned, "the dreadnought is attempting to retrofit their targeting systems." Perfect. Lisa switched to a private channel. "Wild Cards 3 and 4, you're up. Show them our little surprise." Two fighters broke from the chaos, streaking toward the dreadnought's crystalline superstructure. As the massive ship's defenses tried to track them, the pilots activated their neural resonance amplifiers at full power. The effect was immediate. Fracture lines appeared across the dreadnought's surface, spreading like cracks in ice. "All units, clear the blast zone," Lisa ordered, rolling her fighter away. Time for the coup de grace. She lined up her shot carefully, waiting until the fractures reached critical density. The quantum torpedo left her ship silently, its warhead containing not explosives, but a concentrated burst of human emotional patterns. Fear, rage, joy, and triumph. All amplified and focused into a weapon that the Axelarians' crystal technology simply couldn't process. The impact was spectacular. The dreadnought didn't explode. It shattered, its perfect crystalline structure disrupted at the quantum level by the chaos of human consciousness. Fragments of the once mighty vessel scattered across space like a rain of diamonds. By the Eternal Empire, the Axelarian transmission was filled with something Lisa had never heard in their voices before. "Fear. What are you?" "We're human," she responded, leading her squadron in another attack run. "And we're just getting started." The remaining Axelarian ships began to retreat, their perfect formations now ragged and disorganized. As they fled, Lisa received a transmission from Earth Command. Similar victories were being reported across the globe. Humanity's first true space battle had ended in triumph. "Wild Card Squadron, sound off," she ordered, counting each response. Not a single loss. They had faced the galaxy's most advanced fleet and won through sheer unpredictability and understanding of their enemy's weaknesses. As they turned their fighters toward home, Lisa broadcast one final message to her pilots. "Today, we proved something the Axelarians never understood. The most powerful weapon isn't perfect order. It's the beautiful chaos of the human spirit. Well done, Wild Cards." Well done. Behind them, the scattered remains of the Axelarian dreadnought continued to drift, a glittering testament to humanity's first punch against an empire that had never known defeat. Marcus Hack Thompson's fingers danced across his haptic interface, quantum bits of data streaming through his neural link like digital rain. Around him, in the converted missile silo that now served as Earth's primary cyber warfare center, dozens of the world's best hackers worked in similar states of deep connection with the Axelarian network. Got another packet structure, he announced, his voice slightly slurred from deep immersion. They're trying to patch the quantum encryptions we slipped into their last update. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their quantum cryptography expert, wheeled her chair over to his station. Show me. Marcus pulled up a holographic display of the Axelarian data structure, beautiful, crystalline patterns that pulsed with mathematical precision. See this? He highlighted a seemingly random sequence. They think it's garbage data, but it's our backdoor, Yuki finished, a rare smile crossing her face, hidden in plain sight because it looks like system degradation from our neural attacks. The team had discovered this vulnerability 3 months ago. The Axelarians were so focused on maintaining perfect data structures that they automatically quarantined anything that appeared corrupted. It became the perfect hiding place for Liberation Net, humanity's secret communication network linking resistance movements across the galaxy. Incoming transmission, called out Jimmy Chen from his station. Tagged urgent from the Proxima relay. Marcus switched his feed, connecting to the secure channel. A message appeared, originating from a species calling themselves the Zixtal, one of the first to join the resistance after Earth's defiance went public. They've done it, Marcus announced, his voice rising with excitement. The Zixtal successfully replicated our neural disruptor technology. They've driven Axelarian forces from 3 of their colony worlds. A cheer went up through the command center, but Marcus was already diving deeper into the data stream, his augmented consciousness swimming through the quantum network. Something caught his attention, a pattern that shouldn't exist. Yuki, he called out sharply. I need you to see this. The cryptographer jacked in, her consciousness joining his in the digital space. Together, they observed a new type of Axelarian security protocol taking shape, one that seemed to be adapting, learning. They're evolving, Yuki whispered. Their network is trying to mimic human unpredictability. Marcus smiled. But they're still thinking like Axelarians, trying to create controlled chaos. Jimmy, patch me into all resistance nodes. Time to show them real human creativity. His consciousness expanded across Liberation Net, connecting with thousands of alien minds across the galaxy. The sensation was dizzying, but his neural implants handled the load. He began weaving a new kind of code, one that combined Earth's digital expertise with alien perspectives. What are you doing? Yuki asked, watching the pattern take shape. Creating a virus that evolves faster than their defenses, Marcus replied. But instead of using just human chaos, I'm incorporating thought patterns from every species in the resistance. It's not just unpredictable, it's unprecedented. The code grew, feeding on input from 100 different species, each adding their own unique cognitive patterns to the digital weapon. The Axelarian network never stood a chance. Their attempts at controlled adaptation shattered against this tsunami of unified chaos. Liberation Net is secure, Marcus announced, gradually disconnecting from the deep link. And I left them a little present. Every time they try to shut down a resistance communication, their own network will spawn a dozen new secure channels. Yuki studied the aftermath of their digital battle. They'll never be able to contain this. The more they'd fight it, the stronger it gets, Marcus finished, just like the resistance itself. He looked around the command center, at humans and alien representatives working together, sharing knowledge and strategies through the network he'd helped create. The Axelarians had spent millennia keeping species isolated, never imagining that their own communication network would become the tool of their undoing. Send word to all resistance cells, he ordered, already preparing for the next phase. The network is secure. Operation Unity is a go. As confirmation signals flooded in from across the galaxy, Marcus allowed himself a moment of pride. The Axelarians had built their empire on rigid control of information. Now that same empire was being dismantled by the free flow of ideas. Humanity's gift to the galaxy. Admiral Emily Steele Richardson stood in the war room of the Earth Defense Force flagship, Defiant, studying the holographic representation of the Axelarian Grand Archive. The massive crystalline structure floated above a world that had never known war. Until now. Our intel from the Liberation Net is solid, Commander Weizong reported, manipulating the hologram to highlight key entry points. The archive isn't just their historical repository, it's the foundation of their entire social structure. Every piece of propaganda, every carefully curated lie about their benevolent protection is stored here. Emily nodded, her cybernetic eye scanning and analyzing defensive positions, and our insertion team. Ghost Squad is prepped and ready. Y brought up personnel files of the 12 Special Forces operators chosen for this mission. They've been running simulations with the neural disruptors for weeks. Sergeant Sarah Cooper leads the team. On cue, Sarah stepped forward from the shadows of the war room. Her tactical suit was a masterpiece of human engineering. Quantum stealth fabric merged with neural interfaces and enough disruption tech to give even crystalline beings nightmares. "My team is ready, Admiral," Sarah reported. The Axelarians never developed traditional security systems because they never imagined anyone could reach their homeworld. Their arrogance is our advantage. Emily turned to the assembled command staff. This isn't just about destroying their archives. Every subjugated species in the galaxy needs to see the truth. Sergeant Cooper, walk us through it. Sarah activated her neural link, bringing up the mission schematic. We're calling it Operation Shattered Truth. While the fleet engages their orbital defenses, Ghost Squad will infiltrate the archive using reversed engineered quantum tunneling tech. Our neural disruptors will handle any crystalline guards. She highlighted specific sections of the archive. The Axelarians store data in quantum crystal matrices. We're not going to destroy them. We're going to rewrite them. Every piece of propaganda, every false history, will be replaced with the unfiltered truth of their oppression. And the best part, Wei added, they can't stop it without destroying their own historical foundation. The crystal matrices are interlinked. Change one part, the whole structure adapts. Emily allowed herself a grim smile. The perfect trap. They've spent millennia building their empire on lies. Time to see how it handles the truth. The mission launched 12 hours later. Emily watched from the Defiance Bridge as Ghost Squad's stealth shuttle slipped through the chaos of orbital combat. The main fleet had engaged the Axelarian Home Defense Forces, but this battle was just a distraction, albeit a convincing one. Sarah's voice came through the quantum-encrypted channel. Ghost Squad successfully inserted. Beginning Phase 1. Through shared neural feeds, the bridge crew watched as the squad moved through the archive like shadows. Their movements were a perfect fusion of ancient Earth stealth techniques and bleeding-edge technology. When they encountered crystalline guards, their neural disruptors induced confusion and disorientation, the equivalent of a severe migraine for silicon-based life forms. Reaching the central matrix, Sarah reported. Beginning upload. Emily held her breath. This was the crucial moment. The data package they were uploading contained thousands of first-hand accounts from oppressed species, unaltered historical records, and evidence of Axelarian atrocities collected over centuries. Upload complete. Matrix is transforming. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The entire archive structure began to pulse with new patterns as the truth corrupted their carefully constructed lies. Through their network, this revelation would spread to every Axelarian data hub across the galaxy. Ghost Squad, get out of there, Emily ordered as the archive's crystalline structure began to resonate with chaotic energy patterns. Mission accomplished. As the squad extracted, emergency broadcasts from the planet's surface told the story. Riots were breaking out as ordinary Axolarians, for the first time in their history, faced the undiluted truth about their empire. "Send word to all resistance forces," Emily commanded. "The counterstrike is complete. The Axolarian Empire can no longer hide behind their lies. Phase 3 begins now." She watched as the archive's perfect crystalline form continued to pulse with new patterns, order giving way to chaos, lies surrendering to truth. Human ingenuity had struck at the very heart of Axolarian society, and there would be no recovery from this blow. David Cooper adjusted his translator module as he faced the assembled leaders of the Zentari species, tall, bioluminescent beings whose bodies pulsed with waves of light expressing their emotions. The makeshift assembly hall had once been an Axolarian tribute collection center. Now it served a different purpose. "Your ancestors built cities that touched the stars," David began, his voice carrying across the chamber. "Before the Axolarians came, your people had already mastered fusion power and begun terraforming your outer worlds. They didn't protect you. They stripped you of your heritage." The Zentari leader's bioluminescence shifted to deep purple, their expression of grief and anger. One of them, Elder Cuttle, stepped forward. "We have seen the truth in their archives." Cuttle's lights pulsed in time with his words. "But how can we fight an empire that has controlled us for 10,000 cycles?" David smiled, activating the holoprojector he'd brought. Images sprang to life. Earth's history of revolution and resistance, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, civil rights movements, colonial independence struggles. Humanity has faced tyrants before, he continued, walking through the holographic scenes. Every time someone claimed absolute power, claimed they were superior, claimed they knew what was best for everyone else, they eventually fell. Want to know why? He gestured to a sequence showing the fall of the Berlin Wall. Because no empire built on oppression can stand against people united in their desire for freedom. The Axolarians didn't just make a tactical error when they underestimated humans. They failed to learn from history itself. The chamber erupted with pulses of light as the Zentari discussed among themselves. Another elder spoke up. "But they control our technology, our trade routes, our very way of life." David corrected. Past tense. "Thanks to Liberation Net, we've already helped 12 species reclaim their independence. The Krikstal have retaken their shipyards. The Volan have restored their quantum factories. The Axolarian Empire is bleeding resources, and they can't stop it." He brought up new images, recent victories across the galaxy. "This isn't just about fighting. It's about remembering who you were before they came. About reclaiming your destiny." The lights in the chamber began shifting to bright gold, the Zentari expression of hope and determination. David pressed his advantage. "Humanity isn't here to tell you how to live. We're here to help you remember how to be free. Your people mastered the stars once, ready to do it again." Kittle stepped forward, his bioluminescence now a brilliant white. "How do we begin?" David activated another hologram, this one showing defensive installations and weapon schematics. "We've adapted our neural disruption technology to work with your biological light manipulation abilities. Your natural bioluminescence, combined with our quantum field generators, will render Axolarian crystal tech useless in your system." The excitement in the chamber was palpable now, waves of golden light rippling through the assembled leaders. "But most importantly," David continued, "we're going to broadcast everything. Every victory, every reclaimed world, every restored technology. All of it goes on Liberation Net. The Axolarians kept species isolated, made each world think they were alone. That ends now." He brought up a final image, a galaxy map showing spreading points of light, each representing a world that had joined the revolution. "Look around this room," he gestured to the assembled leaders. "Your ancestors built wonders. Your children will build even greater ones. The Axolarians thought they could keep you dependent forever. Time to prove them wrong." As the Zentari leaders drafted their Declaration of Independence, David sent a secure message back to Earth Command. Centauri system is go. Revolution spreads to Sector 7. The response came quickly. Well done. The Axolarians just lost control of their largest dilithium mining sector. Their empire is trying to maintain order on 100 fronts now. Keep pushing. David watched the Centauri leaders, their bodies glowing with renewed purpose and pride. This was humanity's real weapon against the Axolarians, not just technology or tactics, but the indomitable spirit of freedom that transcended species and cultures. The revolution wasn't just spreading. It was becoming unstoppable. Commander Rachel Phoenix Martinez stood on the bridge of the EFSS Prometheus, watching as the combined fleet of 23 liberated species assembled around Earth's flagship. The Axolarian homeworld loomed before them, its crystalline cities refracting starlight like a planet-sized diamond. All fleet commanders reporting ready, Lieutenant Park announced from Tactical. The Centauri lightships have taken position. Crystal dreadnoughts are in formation. Volan stealth squadrons await your command. Rachel nodded, her neural implant processing the tactical overlay. This wasn't just Earth's victory to claim. It was a revolution that had united the galaxy. Open channel to all ships, she ordered. And make sure our friends in those crystal towers can hear every word. The comm system activated with a soft chime. Rachel took a deep breath, remembering all the battles that had led to this moment. To all ships of the Liberation Fleet and to our Axolarian audience. For millennia, your empire stood unchallenged. You claimed to protect while you oppressed. You promised guidance while you enslaved. You preached order while you destroyed countless cultures. She paused, letting the words sink in. But you made one critical mistake. You assumed that because our technology was different, because our minds worked in ways you couldn't understand, we were inferior. Today, that assumption ends. The tactical display updated as the Axolarian home fleet moved to intercept. Massive crystalline vessels arranged in their trademark perfect formations. All ships, execute battle plan Prometheus, Rachel commanded, just like we practiced. The Liberation Fleet scattered in what appeared to be complete chaos. The Centauri lightships pulsed with blinding energy, their bioluminescent technology amplified by human neural interfaces. Crystal dreadnoughts launched waves of quantum disruption torpedoes, while Volan stealth squadrons slipped through the enemy's geometric formations. They're responding exactly as predicted, Park reported. Their battle computers can't adapt to multiple species using different combat doctrines simultaneously. Rachel allowed herself a grim smile. Deploy Phase 2. Show them what real chaos looks like. The human contingent of the fleet activated their neural resonance arrays, broadcasting the combined thought patterns of 1,000 trained pilots. The effect on the Axolarian ships was devastating. Their perfect crystalline structures began to fragment under the assault of uncontrollable chaos. Mom, Park's voice carried urgent excitement. Ground-based resistance cells are activating. The truth broadcasts from the archive are having an effect. We're seeing civilian uprisings in major population centers. This was what they had hoped for, but hadn't dared to count on. The Axolarian people themselves, finally awakening to generations of lies. All ships, push the advantage, Rachel ordered. Concentrate fire on their command and control nodes. Let's give those resistance cells a chance. The battle evolved into something unprecedented. A symphony of chaos conducted by human tactical expertise. Centauri light beams refracted through the debris of shattered crystal ships, amplifying their effectiveness. Crystal forces applied ancient siege techniques using modern weapons. Volan infiltrators transmitted neural disruption patterns directly into the Axolarians' defensive grids. Their orbital defenses are collapsing, Park reported. Fleet Admiral Catal is requesting permission to lead the ground assault. Rachel checked the tactical display. The Axolarian home fleet was in disarray, their perfectly ordered formations now a scattered debris field of fractured crystal. Permission granted. All ships, maintain orbital containment. This is their moment too. She watched as Centauri and crystal dropships descended through the atmosphere, carrying liberation forces to support the growing ground rebellion. The Axelarian Empire wasn't just being defeated, it was being dismantled by the very species it had oppressed. "Commander," Park's voice was quiet now. "We're receiving a transmission from the Imperial Palace. They're surrendering." Rachel straightened her uniform, thinking of all the battles, all the sacrifices that had led to this moment. Put them through on main screen. Let's make history. As the crystalline visage of the Axelarian Emperor appeared before her, Rachel Martinez, human commander of the most diverse fleet the galaxy had ever seen, prepared to accept the surrender of an empire that had ruled for 10,000 years. The last bastion had fallen, not just to human ingenuity, but to the unstoppable power of freedom itself. Dr. Jessica Morgan stood once again in the former Axelarian Council chamber, but everything had changed. The oppressive crystalline walls now pulsed with the combined light patterns of 24 species representatives. Where once towering crystal beings had demanded tribute, now a circular table of equals discussed the future. The Transition Councils report success across 87 former Imperial sectors, Jessica announced, reviewing the holographic data streaming through her neural interface. The crystal shipyards are at full production, helping restore independent space travel to liberated worlds. The Zentari have reopened their ancient universities, sharing their rediscovered knowledge freely. Elder Catal's bioluminescence shifted to a warm gold as he added, and the reformed Axelarian Assembly has provided full access to their technological archives. Their younger generation is particularly eager to help right the wrongs of their ancestors. Jessica smiled, remembering her first act of defiance in this very chamber. They're learning something humanity has known for a long time. Real strength comes from cooperation, not control. The chamber's holographic displays showed scenes from across the galaxy, former tribute collection centers transformed into cultural exchange hubs, freed species reclaiming their heritage while embracing new alliances, and perhaps most surprisingly, young Axelarians working alongside other species to help rebuild. The proposed Galactic Federation Charter has been ratified by 37 worlds, announced Commander Zhang, who had helped coordinate the Liberation Fleet, based on principles of mutual respect, shared defense, and cultural independence. With some uniquely human additions, added Crystal Ambassador Nvor, their crystalline voice carrying a note of amusement. This concept of democratic representation has caused quite a stir. Jessica brought up the Charter's core principles on the main display. Because every voice matters. The Axelarians failed because they couldn't understand that diversity isn't a weakness. It's the greatest strength any civilization can have. She gestured to the chamber around them, now serving as the temporary Federation Council headquarters. Look at this room. Every species here brings something unique. The Zentari's mastery of light and energy. The Crystal's unmatched engineering. The Volan's stealth innovations. Even the reformed Axelarian's crystal technology, now used to share knowledge instead of control it. And humanity? Asked a young Axelarian representative, their crystalline form shimmering with curiosity. What do you bring to this federation? Jessica's answer was interrupted by an alert from the quantum communication network, once a tool of oppression, now the nervous system of a free galaxy. A new species, previously unknown, had achieved faster than light travel and was approaching Federation space. The chamber fell silent as everyone processed the implications. This would be their first test. How would they respond to new civilizations? Would they follow the old path of dominance or forge something new? Jessica stepped forward. Let's welcome them properly. Not as rulers or conquerors, but as equals. Let's show them a galaxy where every species is free to reach their full potential, where diversity is celebrated, not suppressed. The council erupted in agreements, each species' form of expression creating a beautiful chaos of light, sound, and motion. As representatives began coordinating the first contact protocols, Jessica sent a private message back to Earth. Mission accomplished. The revolution succeeded beyond our wildest dreams. But our real work is just beginning. The response came quickly. "Well done, Doctor. Humanity's first strike against tyranny has become everyone's victory. The stars belong to all of us now." Jessica looked around the chamber one final time, taking in the sight of former enemies working together, of oppressed species standing tall, of a galaxy awakening to new possibilities. The Axelarian Empire had succeeded for millennia because they convinced everyone that order required control, that progress required submission. Humanity had shown them a different way, not through superior technology or military might, but through the simple, powerful idea that every voice matters, that chaos and order can coexist, that diversity breeds strength. As the council began discussing plans to welcome the new civilization, Jessica smiled. The galaxy was entering a new dawn, one where the only tribute required was mutual respect, and the only empire was the unlimited potential of free peoples working together. The human spirit that had sparked the revolution would now help guide a federation of equals into a future brighter than any single species could create alone.